Firing. He's going for Landry down by the end zone. A tumbling catch for a touchdown. He's to the 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown. Is this how it feels to win?
Welcome back, Survivors. Episode 20, Season 4. Surviving the Season live from the Baylor Studios in Tampa. I'm Adam. Greg, what up?
Yo, what's going on?
Not much. We are here after the Week 3 preseason game. Tampa Bay 13, Browns 12.
Wah, wah, wah.
Sort of a little bit of a debacle.
Perfect season.
Yeah.
Just threw it away. Just threw it away. It went through, it slipped through the hands. We'll say that.
Yeah, so we'll recap all this. We'll catch you up on any news around the league a little bit later. Any specific Browns news recent that I've missed? I don't think there's anything.
I didn't see the injuries, but did we hear what happened with Redwine? I know he got injured at the end.
At the very end, yeah, something looked like his hand or something, but I never saw anyone bring it up.
His hand? Is that what they're saying? See, I didn't get to hear. I've had zero time since the game. Get up, go to work, and then I bartended a wedding last night. So I had zero time to get on Twitter to try to find like the injuries and whatnot. I just know he got injured.
Yeah, he went out at the there was only like a minute left, and then he had a tackle. It looked like his shoulder or his hand, something happened, but they just took him off the field, and of course the game was over, so it never got updated. And I haven't seen any news on Twitter, or I don't even know if it was addressed maybe today if they meet. Well, they're probably off today,
so who knows? I mean, there could be something there. Was there any other injury that came out of this thing? Because we're 2 weeks away from the season now. Stay healthy.
Yeah, no injuries that required anyone to be carted off or anything.
Yes, I know that much, but I didn't know if we had heard anything else. Okay, so just guess injured ego is the only thing for the Browns offense. That's about it. Yeah,
it was pretty rough. The offense was not good. The defense, though, on the other hand, was very good.
Phenomenal.
Special teams was pretty good as well.
There seems to be a couple battles there for the special team. Robert Jackson on plays again this week. Tavierre Thomas back again. The Bucs had one good return, and it looked like Donnie Lewis maybe didn't have his contain there. That's the one where the Scottish Hammer made the tackle.
Oh, yeah.
So, maybe if you have Robert Jackson opposite of Tavierre Thomas, I don't know if they're going to have room on the team. That seems to be like a nice little duo of gunners. I've also seen Philip Gaines, who is playing well as the nickel corner, so as a backup nickel corner. Or maybe what could be, I don't know, number 3 on the depth chart if it goes TJ Carey, and then you're talking about Eric Murray being 2.
Yeah.
But these guys on special teams, though, I mean, if you play it, it gives you that added bonus to be able to make this roster as one of the guys on the bottom of your position.
Definitely Darius Taylor. He's cemented his spot there.
Did he tip a ball? Did he tip that ball? Because they were saying, so I initially on the block kick on the Colts on the Tampa Bay side, which I watched their initial broadcast. There was no mention of a block punt, but when I went back and I was just watching the Browns really quick, they said the ball was tipped. It didn't even look like it was tipped. It looked like a blocker got pushed back into the punter on the punt. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, the Browns said it got partially blocked, but I don't know. Taylor was there, and there was someone inside of him as well.
And if anybody tipped it, I believe it would have been the inside guy, but he seemed to get credit for it, so not positive who had that one.
It was a short punt, whatever it was. The Browns had good field position pretty much all day and didn't do much with it.
We should have won this game like 50-0. Tons of opportunity. Baker was slightly off today. He was not his normal self. Usually those balls, he where he puts right on you, the wide receivers had to work a little bit for him. And there was times where the wide receiver should have made the play, but there's also times like the one where Higgins in the end zone that Baker just a tad bit high it's going to take a heroic effort for Higgins to come down with that ball. He has it, hits the ground, the ball bounces out, and then you have an incomplete pass instead of a touchdown. I mean, it's that, it's a game of inches.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of Mayfield's passes were pretty good, where only the receiver's going to get it. Nobody else was going to get it, but just dudes didn't come down with him. He also seemed to have a couple miscommunications, overthrew a couple people.
What was the one 4th down and 2 where he throws it and Higgins one-hands it? I mean, he makes a play there because that's not a ball. That's a ball Baker's going to want back. I mean, he can put that into a better place where Higgins doesn't have to make a one-handed catch. I thought the one thing that we had talked about with Montgomery being, your ex-receiver, that you have to be able to get separation and do that sort of. With him not being in there, not having Beckham and not having Landry, Njoku, Callaway, all the playmakers are out. They're playing Willies at X. There's a couple times where they're playing Strong at X. These guys have to be able, and that's just not their game. That's not where they're going to thrive. So what we're missing there, and I think that really showed, is the guy that can kind of create for himself. And we're left with, Higgins does a nice job, but that's not really what he's known for either. He's not a speed guy. He's not a guy that's known for beating you vertically. He's gonna more beat you on those quick outs and the crossers and that sort of thing. We just didn't really have the personnel. So looking at Twitter while the game's going on, it seemed to be a lot of worry about, oh my God, what's going on? Like, this offense is terrible. Is this what's going to happen? And people just need to realize this is Baker with a starting offensive line who's really not that good anyways, the offensive line, and a bunch of backups. So once you get the starters in there, this offense is going to look totally different. Do you think Landry and Beckham don't come down with half of those balls that were 50-50 balls a night that should have been caught that weren't?
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely the better playmakers, but
yeah, they come down with those catches. And it's not to make excuses for these guys, but the point is, you didn't see the actual Browns offense out there. You saw what it would look like if we were stuck with Baker and a bunch of backups for 16 weeks. That's why you go out and get a guy like Odell. That's why you pay a little extra to get Landry in here to shore up the wide receiver group, and you need Njoku instead of Harris and DeVelve, and you need Chubb to take you had Hunt in there, so I don't want to use Chubb even in this group, but you're also missing Callaway's playmaking ability. I mean, that you just don't miss like your top 4 playmakers and go, okay, this is going to be the same offense. It just doesn't work that way.
No, I agree with you, but this is week 3 of the preseason. The starters are not going to play in week 4. We've got a real game coming up.
They'll be ready.
This is the last audition, and nobody looks sharp. That's probably good for them in the long run to not just come out and be sharp and everyone just feels good about themselves. It might be better that they go, oh, you know what, we got some work to do still in these last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I don't think Freddie seems to be the type of coach to let them make an excuse of, all right, the playmakers weren't, he talked about it at halftime when they went in. Like, you're not protecting and nobody's making plays, and this is what happens. You get a bunch of field goals up there instead of touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's going to stay on them. He's pissed about it. They're definitely going to go back to work and work. I mean, how long did he keep the starting offensive line in there? Clearly, Freddie was not happy with that effort by the offensive line.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they played 3 full quarters.
Yeah.
They played up until Stanton. They played when Stanton was in there. And then when they put in Blau, they went to the backups.
Yeah, 43 snaps for Hubbard, Batoni. Yeah, 43 snaps for the starters, it looks like.
They weren't playing around. I think the run blocking definitely was an issue. Greg Robinson had 2 penalties.
That's what he's known for, man.
Yeah.
We knew this. So I'm not even a little surprised by what the offensive line looks like. That what we just saw of the offensive line is what I'm expecting on a week in, week out basis. I mean, it's not like we're facing the 85 Bears front here. No, we're facing Tampa Bay in a preseason game. Like, this is what you're going to get. It's going to come down to Freddie designing plays, get the ball out of Baker's hands quick, and Baker reading the field quickly and getting the ball out of his hands. I mean, this is what this offense is going to be all about. You can't expect these guys to pass protect for 5 seconds. I mean, there's a couple there. Baker took 1 sack where he takes the snap and he double pumps. Like, it's essentially like the 3-step drop where you get the ball and you have to get it out right away. When he double pumps, it's over after that. Like, he's got to make a decision. So that sack would have been on him, even though the rush only took a couple seconds to get to him. The play design is a quick pass. So you have to get that ball out. So I don't think every single one of these was on the offensive line, because, Baker's got to take a little bit of that blame. And I think, that's really what it's going to come down here. Now Cush got absolutely annihilated by Sue on the one where he came right up the middle and was pressure. I don't know if he got a sack there. I think Baker made a move. It was early in the game. I think it was our first drive, and Baker had to make a play. And I think it was a pass where he threw it to Willies, and Willies just got enough for the first down to extend the opening drive.
Yep.
You go back and watch that play. Cush, that's the kind of effort that gets your quarterback killed. Those are the kind of plays that derail a playoff football team. I mean, you can't have that middle pressure that just gets blown up right off the snap. You have to have, at least a second or two of getting your hands on this guy and making him work to get to the quarterback. It just can't be the Olay blocking technique.
Yeah. Just looking through some of the grades. Yeah. Forbes graded poorly in pass blocking. He gave up a hurry and a pressure.
16. Yeah, he only had 16 snaps on the night. So a small sample size on that. Overall, for the whole preseason, he's had his ups and downs, and that's expected out of a rookie.
Yeah, Corbett was also pretty bad in that second group.
Sorry to cut you, but how about the bad snap? Did you not instantly, as we came out in the second half, not realizing the starting group is still in there, the bad snap happens?
Yeah.
How many people were effing Corbett instantly?
For sure. Yeah.
So, everybody sitting on their couch. God damn it, Corbett! Oh, wait a second, that's Treader. Oh, sorry, I apologize.
I guess the silver lining is really we only gave up one sack. Greg Robinson gave up a sack. I think there was 2 sacks in the game, but I mean they didn't get Mayfield down on the ground.
Yeah, it's not. And Mayfield's good at that. Did you watch the Browns? Did you watch Tampa? Because you're down there in Tampa. Did you watch the Tampa broadcast or the Browns broadcast?
The Browns broadcast.
But did you see where they go to Bernie and they're like, explain what? This is probably the worst segment I've ever seen in my life. Explain how Baker moves in the pocket. Well, he moves a little bit like this, a little bit like that. And I'm like, this is terrible TV. But
I half expected Bernie just to start like taking some drags from a flask over there. Like it looks so funny. Like, what are you guys doing? Is this a skit?
We recall Bernie as when he actually played. I mean, he couldn't move then. How are we expecting him to move now, like 30 years later? So 40 years later. I mean, come on, man. But yeah, Baker gets out of a lot of shit.
Yeah.
That's the one thing he's good at. And you see that all the time. He really feels the pressure. He can extend plays. So, the sack total should not be, we talked about the difference of Baker's sack rate to what's his name that was here that plays for the Eagles now?
McCown.
No, the other one, Cody Kessler, and the difference in just what you can do with your feet. But yes, McCown does also play for the Eagles. Yes, the way Cody Kessler takes sacks, Baker just doesn't do that. He doesn't allow it to get to him. He'll get the ball out quick, and he's just so good at moving around the pocket and making sure that either you throw it away or you get the ball out or, run. I don't think you ran at all. What's interesting here is I'm looking at it. We had 43 snaps by the offensive line, the starting offensive group. 33 were pass blocks and 10 were run blocks. So really pass heavy there. And I don't know if I realize that until I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, might have been stuff that they wanted to work on. They're not really wanting to get Kareem Hunt a ton of carries. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine. Did Hilliard even have a carry?
No, he returned a couple.
He did.
Oh,
yeah.
He returned one punt. So there's that. But
I think Dearness Johnson looks just fine as a returner also.
Yeah.
So I think we're okay there with with these 3 running backs right now. I was a little worried about Dearness Johnson, but he's looked fine. I mean, he's catching the ball out of the backfield. He's making nice runs, and he's giving you some stuff in special teams. So I don't think there was any lanes. Watching Kareem Hunt, he had the one where he bounced it to the outside and hurdled the guy, and Seth DeVelve, playing fullback, had a lead block there that was pretty solid. That will probably help Seth DeVelve complete a roster spot if he can keep up the fullback work plus the special teams and tight end.
Because, right now, I mean, behind Njoku, it wasn't both Harris, Farrell Brown, Steve Carlson. There's not.
No.
Harris hasn't been that exciting as a.
He's not excited. Yeah. He's a run blocker, basically.
Came in, yeah.
Farrell Brown might actually make this team because of his special team. If we don't keep a fullback, right? If the carriage that we signed from Green Bay is cut, and they just go, well, if on the rare times that we go with a fullback, we'll just use DeVelve.
Mm-hmm.
Farrell Brown probably makes the team just to give you the extra, or they end up adding somebody from another. It's probably more likely that they add another guy from a different roster that gets cut.
That would make sense to me,
because Farrell Brown doesn't necessarily look like a NFL football player, in my opinion, or at least ready at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, he has been playing on special teams, which is going to be, once they start to put that together, what he do? Oh, actually, he had a couple penalties. He had a clip.
Yeah, that was offsetting, right? Because there was a foul on Tampa Bay also.
Yeah, and then he had a hold. I thought Demetrius Harris had the hold, but now that I'm looking at PFF, they gave both penalties to Farrell Brown. I thought
Demetrius Harris did have a penalty. Are you looking at you might be just looking at special teams.
Okay. Yep. All right. Yeah, Harris had a penalty then in regular play, right?
Yeah, Farrell Brown had 2 special teams penalties. Harris had 1 on offense.
Okay. That makes sense. So anyway, I guess that's the whole point of Farrell Brown is if he's going to be okay on special teams, maybe he can, like you said, maybe he can hit the roster, but he probably didn't do himself any favors.
No,
a couple penalties.
But I just see the use for a 4th tight end if DeVelve's going to be your fullback, or they might have just been using DeVelve that way because of the injury to Carriage.
Yeah, a little bit of a tough day for the offense. Treader with the bad snap, no big deal. That happens. Baker with the bad interception. Okay, that happens.
Yeah, well, and that interception, all they're trying to do is move the ball quickly. You got one play to try to get into field goal position.
Yeah.
He stares it down. That's the one problem that he'd probably want to take back. I don't even know if that safety moved. But when I went back and watched it, I'm like, the safety's standing there. I'm not even sure he moved from that spot, and Baker still threw it. At that point, you're just trying to move the ball down to be able to get one kickoff. You want one completion, get down. Let's try to get some points before half. So I get being aggressive there. It doesn't really hurt you. The interception is inconsequential, but it shows up in the stats, and now you got to listen to, your Cowherds and these other dudes talk about the stat line of Baker on Monday.
Yeah.
And if you mention that, if I see that on Twitter, that means I know that you're listening to Cowherd. You're going to get the mute button.
Shit. Okay. All right. Defense.
Where do we even start with this? If you start with the defensive line, I mean, they were getting after it.
Yep. They're going to be awesome. So, defensive line is unblockable.
Yeah. There was that one play where Miles only played the first series, I believe. Him and Vernon on the same play were both meeting at the quarterback. And the tackles, if you go back and watch the Tampa Bay tackles on that play, it is hilarious. As soon as the ball snapped, those guys are just trying to rally. They're just trying to catch up to the speed.
Yeah.
Both guys. I mean, they are instantly beat as soon as the ball snapped. It's over. They know it. They're like, dear God, here we go. I'm about to give up this sack. I might as well just hold this guy. But both of them just annihilate their blocker and get to the quarterback, and Winston didn't stand a chance. And really, I'm surprised Tampa Bay kept throwing Winston out there as often as they did, because the pressure was relentless.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Vernon has such a good power move where he just sticks his arm into the tackle and just shoves him backwards. And the tackle is off at balance the entire time.
And especially that works so well because they're afraid of your speed. if you watch that tackle on that play that I'm talking about, he's crossing his feet over. He's so worried that he's going to get beat to the outside. He's running. He's sprinting to get to the spot where he thinks he's going to meet Vernon. And Vernon's like, okay, well, I got you. You're oversetting. And now I'm just going to use my strength and go right through the inside and get this easy sack.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. Between him and Garrett and Richardson and Ogunjobi, I mean, this team, by far the best defensive line we've probably ever had, at least in my life. And then the amount of sacks that they could rack up might be bonkers. Yeah,
I think they had, a combined 30 sacks with them all, with everybody's added up last year. And Vernon missed a bunch of time. Ogunjobi and Richardson, you got to imagine, are just going to be able to have better years based upon the outside pressure. They're going to get a lot more free rushes. But as a group, the entire group looked good. Devereaux Lawrence looked good again. He had a couple sacks.
Yep.
If you remember when we picked him up last year as a 7th round pick, he either had 4 or 5 sacks in last year's preseason. So he might just be one of these August, September heroes. I don't know yet.
Where he's tuning up the backups for the other team.
He's absolutely taking advantage of bad guard play, bad backups. But you have to do that. I mean, you can only play the guy that they put in front of you.
Yeah.
And he's winning those often. So I thought he was really good.
I mean, at this point, he's got to make this team over like Carl Davis or, some of those other inside guys. I mean, Coley's been okay, but...
Yeah, Coley's he's pretty consistent, and you know what you're going to get with him. It's not great play, but it's solid. He puts up some numbers. I would expect both of those guys to make it.
Yeah,
I just don't know what they're gonna. If they're just gonna keep 4, they're gonna end up with another guy there or what.
Well, Ekwale's been getting some snaps.
Did he play yesterday? I didn't see much. 19 snaps for him.
Yeah,
he had nothing in the stat line, but he must have got in a little bit later. I didn't see him in there very much. The thing is, on the edge, Chris Smith, you saw him a lot in the backfield, and then Zettel. I'm not sure what they're doing here with Zettel. Are they going to keep 5? Are they going to keep Chris Smith? Are they going to keep Zettel and Chad Thomas? If you're going to cut one of those guys, I'm tending to think it's going to be Anthony Zettel.
Yeah, because you got to remember also Avery is going to take a lot.
And Avery,
going to take a lot.
Who also gets off. Jesus, he had a couple plays where I'm like, is he offsides? Okay, no, he's not. They said he's not offsides, but he couldn't be getting any faster off the snap. I mean, he is instantly in the backfield. The same thing with Miles, the same thing with Vernon.
Miles looks like a different person. I mean, he played 6 snaps. One of the snaps, the ball has barely moved, and he's almost already in the backfield. I don't understand how he's timing that up. He's literally starting before the left tackle who knows the snap count.
I'm telling you, go back and watch. You'll see Avery does it. I don't know if those two have been working together, but Avery does it a couple times also. They're jumping the snap, and I think the first play Avery does it might have been right after the Blaine Gabbert injury, and so they bring in the backup. He's probably thinking there's no way they go on 2 for the backup's first snap.
Yeah, sure, right, yeah. At this point, they just need a snap.
There's no way. They're definitely going on 1, and as soon as I hear Hut, I'm going.
Nothing but good things to say about the D-line. They're good inside. They're good outside. Lawrence looks like a good backup right now.
Yeah, Wyatt Ray was in early. I still don't expect him to make the team. And then some Jarrell Owens was also in there last night.
Yeah, taking up some snaps.
Exactly.
Vernon played a lot. What did he play? He played 25 snaps, which was a lot, but Garrett only played that first series, and then they pulled him. So,
Vernon really hasn't played much other than that, though, right?
Yeah.
Let me see here. What do they have for snaps for him? So, yeah, I guess he played 19 versus Indianapolis and 25 last night. So that's pretty light preseason.
Yeah, that's enough. They just need a tune up,
Yep.
Go out there, hit somebody.
He had 4 pressures and 2 sacks last night. On 16 pass rushes.
That ain't bad.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck opposing quarterbacks. I mean, we've talked so often about that. Christian Kirksey showed up for another game where I came away feeling better about Christian Kirksey. I think the defense seems to be fitting what he likes to do. He got in, I believe he had a sack, right? According to this, he has a sack. And then Joe Schobert just showing off his coverage a number of times last night. I thought Joe Schobert looked really good. And that's the reason, anybody that thinks Taki or Mac Wilson are going to have a chance here to get a lot of playing time at middle linebacker, it's not going to be over. They're not getting time over Joe Schobert. He's not going to come off the field because he's doing everything. He can stop the run. He plays a pass as well as any linebacker in the league. I mean, this guy's super valuable.
Yeah. Did you notice that they started Schobert, Kirksey, and Taylor? And they played 4-3 quite a bit, actually. Maybe,
and I think that was due to alignment. And
Okay.
If you go back to that first play, that play that you're talking about, I think they had multiple tight ends in, and that would make sense. You're bringing in your base defense. I was surprised that it was a Darius Taylor being the first guy, though, as your strong side linebacker.
Yeah, they might have just wanted to get work.
Yeah, so I don't think that is anything other than just matching up personnel.
But they went with it for quite a while, actually.
So let's go back on our next watch through and see what's the Bucs personnel. I bet you that it matches up.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's probably a bigger personnel, and that's why we were doing that. But yeah, you mentioned to me, you're like, I think the Browns broadcast, they're saying that we are playing a 4-2-5, but we have 3 linebackers in there. I don't think they're aware of that.
Yeah,
and they did.
That might have been
right.
It's in the second half too, right? Is it they were talking about
second quarter maybe, or it might maybe second half. I'm not real sure, but they were talking about it.
There's a lot to watch when you're watching it live, but there was definitely 3 linebackers on the field, more than we've had 3 linebackers on the field.
100%.
Entire preseason.
100%. Now Mac Wilson with another missed tackle, Sheldrick Redwine with another missed tackle.
Wilson had a bad day again. His first game was awesome, and then he's had 2 consecutive kind of meh games.
Yeah, he is the lowest graded defender from Pro Football Focus. Yeah, I want to go back through it and watch it really closely. And I saw him miss the 1 tackle. I wonder, what it is that they got him for a 30 coverage grade. So that means he basically wasn't near his guy at all. Tackle grade, terrible. Run defense, terrible. So like to go through and see, what was going on there with him, because yeah, you're right. That's not good at all.
PFF gave Folt to the touchdown pass who was their quarterback at the time, whatever his name is.
Yeah. Smith. The one to the
Griffin.
tight end that they threw.
Yeah. There was it seemed that Wilson had no idea where he was supposed to go, and then he was way out of position. So they gave that as a
and he also got called for a bullshit penalty that was not a penalty.
Yeah.
And Freddie this is what I knew was going to happen with this stupid rule. This is why this rule is so dumb. We're going to challenge these pass interference. They're not going to overturn it unless it's so blatant. But then there's no way that's pass interference on Mac Wilson there.
Yeah. I haven't seen
yet they can't overturn that.
Yeah, I haven't seen one turned over. Arians challenged the pass interference on the first one, on the first play against Ward.
And that was held up, right?
Yeah.
I felt like Freddie should have challenged the one. We ended up calling a timeout. I think it was Jalen Strong.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been for a first down, or it was real close. We were in their territory. I can't remember exactly how the whole thing went down, but it was a big play, and Jalen Strong was clearly hit early. Freddie doesn't challenge it, and we end up using a timeout. Just challenge the damn thing, and if you don't win it, you use a timeout. I thought that was a coaching mistake by Freddie.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, because you already blew the timeout, so just challenge it.
Just challenge it rather than call the timeout. It doesn't matter at that point.
Right. You're right, though, with that rule change. I think it's going to be a disaster, because the officials want it only to be like the super blatant ones. So if they're saying that Mac Wilson had his hand on that dude's right hip, and that's pass interference, and that was what was called, and they're going to uphold those, then the whole there's no reason to ever challenge these, because they're never going to get overturned.
You're guaranteed to almost lose these things, because they're like, unless it's so blatant or there's no one even near the guy and somehow pass interference gets called, which I don't know. If that's pass interference and they're going to uphold that, good luck getting any of those reversed.
Yeah. It's going to be.
This is a 1-year rule, man. If they end up if they keep calling it like this, people are going to be like, "This is so stupid."
Well, and it takes a long time too. There's long delays for those that that they usually can get through. Fumbles or was the dude out of bounds on a catch. Those are relatively quick reviews, but the both of those pass interference reviews took forever. I
don't really care for this rule very, very much now. I don't want teams to be getting screwed, but at the same point, like pass interference is pass interference. It shouldn't be this hard to decide what is and isn't.
Yeah, I know it's almost too hard to officiate, and then you bring it in like, okay, well now we can watch the replay and we can slow it down and we can use different angles. Every reception there's contact.
Yeah, every single play, the defender has his hands or the offensive guy. I mean, if you could have called offensive pass interference on that first one where Ward, they're hand fighting. Yeah. The guy's pushing Ward's hand off. He's trying to get Ward actually has a very smart play there. He knows that the offensive guy is going to wait till the last second and give him a little shove. So if Ward isn't hand fighting on the first one that Arians challenges, if he doesn't hand fight and get his hand off his shoulder, that's going to give the opportunity for the offensive player to make the play. And that happens constantly in this league, and it's not called. There's way more offensive pass interference that isn't called than any missed defensive pass interference ever.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with you. Yeah, 100%.
So Ward is I thought that play actually showed me a lot of the intricacies of the way that Ward plays corner. That was a smart veteran move by a second-year player. He knows exactly what the offensive guy is doing there. He knows exactly why that hand's on him. And you'll see the young guys will just allow that hand to be put on him and not hand fight. Mm-hmm. But Ward's doing the smart thing going, I know exactly what you're doing here. I've seen this pattern before.
Yeah, that was well played. The secondary played well overall. I mean, they were getting a lot of help up front.
Yeah, when the quarterback is running for his life, the secondary tends to get to look a little better than usual, I guess. So yeah, that's what it's all about, right? And we talked about that all off season. What did we say the key to the Browns is? Cover for long enough for these guys to murder the quarterback. So you have 3 seconds. Do not give up the easy passes. Cover your ass off for 2 to 3 seconds, and somebody's going to find the quarterback, and somebody's going to take him down to the ground, or at least he'll be running for his life. And we've seen that so far.
Yeah, I guess. Eric Murray gave up 4 receptions on 6 targets.
I thought he struggled. Yes, yeah. He was not good. It was Chris Godwin, and Godwin is an up and coming player, very good player. And he was doing a lot of his work out of the slot, which it seems pretty. Tampa Bay has got a nice. You think about Mike Williams not even being out there, and then kid that was with us last year. Now I'm forgetting his name, Perryman. So you add Perryman as like a deep threat and a little bit of speed, and then you have Godwin on the inside taking over where Adam Humphries was. Man, you got a nice receiving core there for Tampa Bay. I mean, those are some good playmakers. It's not an easy cover for Murray on that, but he has to be better. He was handily beaten on those receptions.
Yeah, you met Mike Evans, not Mike Williams. Mike Evans. Right?
Yes, Mike Evans. I'm sorry.
I was like, did they get Mike?
No. Yeah, Mike Evans.
Looking for him on the roster. Okay, Perriman had 2 catches for 15 yards. He played early though, right?
Yeah, he's going to be a big contributor for them this year. It looks like.
Yeah, and the other one that gave up a lot was Redwine. 4 receptions on 4 targets, 42 yards.
We'll see what this injury is, but if it's something that gets him to the IR, the Browns would probably be happy about this to stash him away. Let's be honest. I'm not cheering for rooting for an injury. I'm just saying you got to be looking at this guy thinking we need a red shirt year for Redwine. We need to sit him because he's looked not ready to compete on this level.
Yeah, that's a fair way to put it. He also played 41 snaps. They're getting him a lot of work. Wilson played 43 snaps, getting him a lot of work, and they've played often through this entire preseason. So they're putting him out there. They want to see him.
Really sucks having Taki down because this is going to be some valuable reps for him. Hopefully he'll be back next week. I still haven't heard the extent of that injury.
We'll probably be getting that updated. Anything else on the defense that you...
Robert Jackson was in there early. don't know if they're really taking a long look at him. I think he has, and he graded terribly. And I don't think he's necessarily like a really good corner, but I think they really like what he's given on special teams.
Yeah.
So they're taking a long look at him.
Well, he missed a tackle. He had a penalty, so that doesn't help.
Yeah. It was a pass interference, right, on him? Isn't that what they got him for?
Illegal hands to the face.
Okay.
But probably saved the touchdown.
Okay.
So, special teams. Austin Seibert, 4 for 4, knocked down a 54-yarder, looked good.
54-yarder would have been good for him. 64?
Yeah.
He kicked the crap out of that ball. He looked very good, and I don't know if we should read too much into him getting all the kicks.
That was the plan.
Yes, I know that, but the fact that some people seem to think he has the leg up here on Greg Joseph, don't you just think they're going to come back next game and give Greg Joseph the full game? Yep,
Greg Joseph will place kick the full game, and Colquitt will punt the whole game.
Okay, yeah, right? That's what it seemed to be to me, and I'm reading Daryl Ryder saying, well, Seibert, he's the guy. He seems to be in the lead now. Based on what? That they gave him the full game? I mean, he had no competition. They gave him a full game for a reason, to try to get him in some kind of, you get the whole game, try to build up some momentum.
Yeah, and he was good. All the kicks were perfect. It wasn't anything close. And then the punting, of course, Jamie Gillen has been...
tackling machine.
It had some spectacular punts this year. I don't know if you can beat out Colquitt.
Consistency is what that comes down to, I would say.
Yeah. Because
the Scottish Hammer has had some bombs, but then you'll see a sort of a missed punt, and they probably, obviously a lot more trust in Colquitt because of the experience.
Yeah, I'm not so worried about the punter as the kicker. Hopefully we just don't punt that much this year, but
yeah,
we definitely need a dude that can knock down 54-yarders when the name is called, like, go put this through. We stalled. We did already talked a little bit about the coverages. Under Prefer, this has been a completely different group in coverage. We haven't really given up any long returns in kickoff or punt. I think he's the right coach for I think this hire is going to work out.
Yeah, he's no Amos Jones, but they clearly spent assets on special teams. There's a difference from where we started last year, and I talked about it at the beginning of the season last year. They have no special teams player. They didn't spend anything. They didn't use. They were still trying to find starters and backups for offense and defense. They just said special teams, we'll worry about it later.
Yeah.
And you could tell. And Amos Jones, we already know, historically bad special teams coach. So you throw that on top of it, and it made one of the historically worst special teams units in the history of football. This is a different. This is where there has been assets to bring in guys who play special teams and who've done it well. And then you also get a good coach, a guy who has everywhere he's been has been near the top of the league in efficiency ratings, anyways, for special teams.
Yeah, so that's the
recipe, right, for a good unit.
Yeah, hopefully something to build off of to sort of win that third phase of the game that everyone kind of forgets about.
I know we're talking about defense here, special teams now, but we missed Drew Stanton. What did you think of Drew Stanton?
I didn't even realize he was in there. 3 of 6, 37 yards, sacked once. I don't even remember really him doing anything useful.
You don't remember just the lame duck passes coming out of his...
That's what I mean. Yeah, it was completely forgettable.
And did Braxton Miller do enough to get a roster spot, in your opinion?
Hey, caught 2 balls back to back.
So he's on the team? He's on the team, folks.
It's going to be tough for him to make the team on this short pickup, but...
No, I've seen everything about Braxton Miller. He'll make it as a wide receiver plus a returner. He can be our emergency quarterback. He can do it all. What can't this guy do? You don't have to carry a third quarterback when you got Braxton Miller.
Oh yeah, right.
It's like the Terrell Pryor thing again.
Oh God, can we forget that season?
Let's pull Baker off the field so we can have Braxton Miller run the Wildcat.
Oh God, it's the worst. Remember when that was a thing?
New Orleans does it with Drew Brees. Pulls him off.
Oh, so funny. What else?
Obviously, Luck is some pretty big news, but I want to start with Lamar Miller. Torn ACL. Duke Johnson thrust into lead role running back. Get ready for 1,500 yards rushing, 1,000 yards receiving, 27 touchdowns. Pick him up. Number 1 fantasy running back. Duke motherfucking Johnson.
Could have had
What do you think of that? Could have had him. No, but they'll probably end up picking up somebody else. But it is good for Duke because he will end up getting a lot more work, I think. Actually pretty lucky by the Texans going out and getting Duke Johnson because I think Alfred Blue and some other just another guy sitting behind them. That was pretty big news. But even bigger news, I'd say pretty good for the Browns. Andrew Luck retirement. What do you got on that? Anything?
Yeah, that was crazy. The weird part is the news got broke in the middle of their preseason game with about 7 minutes remaining in the game. Luck standing on the sideline with his teammates, and Adam Schefter breaks the news on Twitter, which, of course, it's just amazing now how fast information travels.
Yeah, everybody in the stadium has it instantly at their fingertips from Twitter.
Yeah, and it was quite the reaction. There was some boos. There was some fans were, clapping him off the field, but most of it was angry fans. I don't know if Schefter was probably supposed to break that news, but
Schefter doesn't care. Zero. Come on.
Yeah, that's the craziest retirement probably ever.
Yeah.
29-year-old quarterback, star, and just walks away.
Doesn't he leave like $60 million on the table?
A lot of money. Yep.
Yeah. That's what. So bartending with my friend last night, we have all these ones that we were tipped laid out, and we're picking them all up. It's like we look like strippers, 2 strippers. And he goes, "Yeah, we're picking up all these ones, and Andrew Luck just gave up $60 million." I go, yep, because I'm a hundredaire. That's why.
That's
He's a millionaire.
I get it. Like a lot of people are kind of mad at the fans, but we find if Baker Mayfield retires in the 4th quarter of next week's game, I'm going to be fucking pissed too.
Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do? The guy doesn't want to play.
I know, but
we would be super like butthurt in the fact that, hey man, we got a shot at a Super Bowl. I don't think I would react by booing personally, but maybe after like $12, $19 beers at the game, you might.
Oh yeah, that's the worst part too. It's literally 7 minutes to go in the game. Everyone's fucking tuned up, dude. I think the Browns fans, even at a preseason game, would rip the stadium apart.
No, I don't know. Well, see, I don't think. Obviously, not all the fans are going to be booing Luck. That's what you see, and then you go, "Oh, the Colts fans are the worst." But you can't throw everybody into the same group that everybody's an asshole, right?
No, it's just the dudes that have been drinking all day. That's probably it. And it's just most people like, oh, okay, well,
if Baker retired next week, I might, as a grown man, I could cry.
Yeah, yeah.
It's possible. I'm not saying 100% would happen. I'm saying it's possible that I shed a tear. Not
like, oh, I got hurt and I'm retiring or something like that. Nope. In the 4th quarter of the last preseason game.
It just goes, you know what? Enough of this. If you're going to keep throwing Eric Kush at right guard, I'm done with this shit. I'm out of here, man.
Hold on. We've got a call coming in. Jim Irsay is on the phone, everybody. Hold on. Hi, Jim. This is Adam, Surviving the Season, the #1 Browns podcast in the world. What's going on, man? How you feeling today? This is you. You're playing Irsay.
Oh. Oh, man. Shit's crazy, man. I don't know how Jim Irsay talks, so.
he talks like the owner of the
But that was me doing
Colts.
blow, because I think that's what he does. And I thought you had a whole bit there going, that you were ready.
No, I just thought of this right now.
Oh, so this is Surviving the Season? Hey, I heard what you guys are saying about Chad Kelly, and you're right. This might be his Iron Man moment. Now that Andrew Luck has exited stage left, Chad Kelly's going to go and bring this team all the way to the Super Bowl. You better watch out, Browns fans. Hold on, let me do one more.
So, Jim, the reports are that
that
Andrew came to you before the game and mentioned that he was going to retire. He probably didn't think that you were going to leak that to the media. Can you give us a little bit more insight into what happened there?
Well, Shefty gets some really good shit. And so I'm like, look, Shefty, bring me up some of that China White. And I'll tell you a little secret that I got. Very big name player. And he did. So I let him know.
Jim, this is amazing. It's a big day for the Indianapolis Colts, and I can't imagine how a lot of the fans are feeling. Were you upset with some of the fans' reactions?
Who cares? I'm a millionaire. I'm a billionaire. What do I care? I'll go buy another quarterback. Hey, what about this Garrett Gilbert guy? I'm looking up him. He had a good game against us. What do you want for him?
Who do you got that we could take?
Bunch of bums. Yeah. We had Andrew Luck, and now he's gone. Now what? The season's over, basically.
Well, the loss for you is good for the Browns, the Indianapolis Colts. We're probably expected to at least have a playoff run, and now we've taken out one of the best quarterbacks in the AFC. Maybe the Browns can make a run. Maybe you can come over and be a Browns fan with us now.
What, does Jimmy like to party? It's cool with me. If he likes to, I'm there.
Great. Seems we lost Jim Irsay. Thanks for calling in, though, Jim. That was great. I wasn't expecting that.
I wish I knew how Jim Irsay talked.
Probably exactly how you did it. It was perfect. Yeah. Could have
no idea.
Some warning.
Nice way to just completely throw me into that one.
We could have worked that out a little better. Oh, well.
Now I feel bad. Wait, Jim Irsay's trying to get his life together, and I just did that on national TV or on a national podcast. Yeah, what do you call it?
On the number one rated Browns podcast in the world. Yes.
Yeah. So Chad Kelly, QB1 now. Get him on your fantasy team. I think Irsay is right in that. This is the Iron Man. See, it was like meant to be.
He did play pretty good last night. 16 of 21, 209 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
QB1.
Wow. What about Brissett?
Who cares?
Oh.
You got Chad Kelly. This is his comeback story, the Iron Man moment, where he turns it all around from deranged lunatic drug addict. Well, like Jim, like Irsay, to Super Bowl hero.
So when
Browns better watch out.
If you remember, like the Colts were good with Manning. They had this great run. Manning goes down, gets hurt. They go 2-14 the year that Andrew Luck's coming out, and they have the first pick. Yeah. So they get Luck. Now he's done. Is the Colts walking into that Clemson quarterback?
No, because he doesn't come out this year. He was only a freshman last year. He's still got 2 more years. This year's whatever the hell his name is from Alabama, and the dude from Oregon are the top 2 quarterbacks.
Herbert?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh shit. That's.
But wouldn't that would be crazy? They got a lot of talent, but man, it definitely comes down to quarterback.
Well, that division's a wreck. The AFC South, the Texans kind of a wreck. They're starting Rod Johnson at left tackle. The Colts just lost their superstar quarterback. The Jags aren't that good.
Because they start Rod Johnson at tackle, they're a wreck? What are you saying? We could have had that guy.
Could have had him. Yeah, the Texans have been a wreck. They're a wreck still.
Could be the Jags, man. Nick Foles, Super Bowl MVP, good defense with the Jags. It's addition by subtraction when you get rid of Blake Bortles. Your team instantly gets better.
Yeah, no doubt.
That might be the team to beat in that division, anyways.
All right. Well, that was funny. Anything else to talk about, or are we done?
That's all I have.
What is our Twitter?
We are at STS Podcast, and our email is
survivingtheseason@gmail.com, patreon.com/STS Podcasts if you want to support the show. Thank you guys very much. We appreciate it. One more preseason game to go. Real life, meaningful football coming soon. Going to be awesome.
Can't wait.
Going to be amazing. Thank you, everybody. Greg, tell them what we say.
Keep on surviving.